Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wealthy Sailor. I am John, and for those of you who don't know, this is the channel where you're following my journey while I try to get my financial house in order. I'm trying to save a little bit. I'm trying to retire within the next 10 years. The first step of which is by the end of 2021, I will be worth $500,000. That's what I'm working towards right now. So for those of you who are not new and have seen my other videos, which all of you should see my videos, they're all made with this production quality, with the same dresser in the background and my bed, because I'm deployed and my room is about the size of a shipping container. In fact, it literally is a shipping container and it's built for 2 people. Luckily, I don't have a roommate right now, but I find that if I change the camera angle so you can see the head of the empty bed, people complain that there's a bare mattress. So now you get to see my bed and my dresser. Okay, to get back on topic, since I went on a little rant there, a lot of people have been asking me, instead of having a rental property in Jacksonville that I can't maintain and then I'm paying a property manager to maintain for me, why don't I just sell the property, take the $85,000 worth of equity I have and invest that into a stock? Or what I would do is use probably Robinhood or M1 Finance and make my own sort of stock portfolio of high yield dividend stocks that I also find to be safe. And there's a lot of reasons why I want to keep that property. So I thought I would kind of make a video going over the benefits of investing in real estate over maybe going into other stuff. Now, I want to make this very clear. One, investing in real estate is not a guarantee. It's safe, but it's not the safest. And the other thing is that this works for me. I have a very well-rounded portfolio. I have precious metals, I have stocks, I have funds, I have real estate. I'm not telling anybody to do one over the other. I'm just letting you know my mind frame behind why I continue to do a rental property as opposed to just taking all the money out. Okay, so the first one is cash flow. Each month I get money in. Now, after you subtract the mortgage that I still have remaining on the house, because I never refinanced it when I started renting it out. I know that's like one of the first things you should do is refinance and take your equity out, but I didn't, because by the time I moved out, I already had 6 years living there, which meant I only had 24 years remaining on the mortgage. Now, subtract 2 more years, so now I only have 22 years remaining on the mortgage. So I want to keep that there, even though the cash flow is low now. That just means I pay it off sooner and then I get the monthly cash flow. Even subtract the property management company, I'm still making good money there, and I like that. The second reason is actually how my net worth is affected by that property, because my net worth goes up every month in 2 ways because of this property. One, the appreciation on the asset. So generally speaking, real estate goes up all the time, especially in a place where I have, because I'm right next to a major military base. So the thing is that there's always people looking to rent, because there's always mid-ranking, like E7s, E6s, some E5s with kids and wife who are looking to rent family homes near the base. So that's, the values just keep climbing and climbing and climbing, and I love it. The other way it affects my net worth is how I do debt pay down. So each month when I pay off the mortgage gets slightly smaller. So that's subtracted off of my total debts that I have, which increase my total net worth. So because of the way that affects my finances, I'm actually really happy with real estate, because I don't feel like I get that with a lot of the other investments. So the third reason I like real estate investing, or at least in this case, is the tax advantages. Certain states have a first-time home buyer, which depending on your state, that could be nice. We got it in Florida, and it was pretty good. I think it was like $3,300 or something like that. We also get to deduct repairs and maintenance on the house each year from our total income, which is kind of nice, because if you're like me and you're single, if you're in a high income bracket, then man, you want all the deductions you can get. You can also deduct interest on your mortgage payment, but this varies from state and the way the federal government does it. So make sure your TurboTax actually will compute it for you, which is nice. But also, if you want to use regular accountant, just make sure that they handle it for you, because I don't know what each different state does in that case. Number 4, and this is I'm not sure if this is the best way to use it, but you can do it. You can use it as an asset to leverage against. Now, I know you can do it with certain investment funds, but it's really easy to do it with a property. So if you ever want to buy a second property, you can leverage your first property to get your second property, and so forth and so on. Now, the problem with this, and it's something I have never done, and I'm not necessarily recommending it unless it's very specific circumstances, it's that your one property is responsible for your second property or for whatever you used it to leverage. So if you lose whatever you're doing, your other property could be affected and dragged into it. So I'm not saying it's a great idea, it's just something you have. I know one thing that I always like to have the property for is if in case something ever happens and I have some massive medical bills, you let the medical bills do whatever they do, and then you can actually take out a loan from a bank to pay off the bills, but you pretty much are taking out a second mortgage on your property, which you can do if you have a lot of equity stored in it. And that way you're paying a smaller fee or lower interest rate with the bank than you would be with the hospital. So, I mean, I know it's something dreadful to think about, but it is a concern. I mean, it's something that we all have to kind of prepare for. So by having a property rented out, I have something I can leverage and use in the future. Okay, so I didn't want to include this in the other tax part because this is one specific instance, but the fifth reason is you can actually avoid capital gains tax with real estate investing by using a 1031 exchange. So pretty much the way it works, and I haven't done this, it's just I did a lot of research into this how it works. If you sell a property, right, and you want to reinvest that money into another property, like a bigger, better property, you can do that without paying capital gains on your sell when you sold it. And how that works is they have certain companies that specialize in the 1031 exchange, and they will take your money and they will warehouse it. I think you can hold it for up to 2 years. If anybody's an expert on this, leave a comment below and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 2 years. And as long as you're investing it into a new investment that fits the criteria of the 1031, then you don't have to pay capital gains on it. That's how a lot of people actually do the buy, sell, remodel every 2 years, is because they try to avoid capital gains tax, and it's a very good thing to have. I do think, however, before you do any of this, you should probably talk to somebody who's an expert on this subject, because from my understanding, if you mess up and you go to a company that doesn't have the certain certification to hold your money, then you have to pay regular taxes on it. So you're now paying 15 or 20% taxes on that for your capital gains that you wouldn't have had to have paid if you just went to the right company. So you have to make sure you do due diligence on that subject. Number 6. Now this should probably be number 1 for me, but number 6 is just that I feel like it's a safe investment. Now you can pull out all the statistics from 2008, and I get it. I get that the housing market is iffy, but 2008 was a special circumstances because housing prices didn't crash in 2008. They corrected. They were never supposed to be as high as they were. It's not that they had this slow, gradual slope up and then they crashed down. No, they had this massive climb up and then a massive drop down. So the thing is that if you bought when they had that massive spike up, expecting it to continue to go up, I don't think that's something the average person should have done. I think that most people should have seen a problem with the market. They didn't, and a lot of people lost a lot for that. And I'm not trying to minimize the tragedy of that. What I am saying is that the reason that I don't worry about that, and the reason why I don't think that affects the safety of my investment, is because I didn't buy when it was artificially high. I bought it when it was just on a normal gradual upslope. I bought in 2012, so it was only 4 years after the market crash, so I actually got a really good price on it. So I think if you're smart with your purchase, you can actually avoid making that mistake. And also keep in mind that regardless of what's going on with the market, you have to follow the same steps of safety when you're buying a property. So I felt like a lot of people that I know who bought property in 2007, 2008 were doing it to try to make a lot of money really quick. And again, that's a problem. That's not why, that's not how that should have worked. I knew people who were buying houses they couldn't afford because, oh, it'll just go up and then we'll sell it and make a bunch of money. And even if that logic is true, there's still a problem there, because even if you sell it to make money, then everything else is still going to cost more. So you can't buy a new house. So I don't know. I don't feel like that's a problem with my investment strategy. So that's why I count as safe. The one thing I do get concerned about is lowering neighborhood values. So my rental property is in a subdevelopment with a homeowners association. You know, a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about homeowners associations, and don't get me wrong, I've had my run-ins with them too. In fact, prior to making this video, like 2 days ago, I got a letter from them about something my renters are doing. Now, it's not anything that they're doing wrong. They just didn't know they had to do something and just had to shoot me an email and let them know. But the thing is, they keep property values high. They prevent people from parking their cars on their lawns. They prevent people from painting their house a weird color that all lower and diminish your neighborhood's value. So that's how you keep your neighborhood up. Now, the thing is that some things are just outside your control. Sometimes entire cities go bad. So the Jacksonville, one thing I looked at when I was looking at buying a house there is what the industries are there. So if it had anything manufacturing, I'd be a little worried. But actually in Jacksonville, it's healthcare and school for healthcare. Apparently that's what one of the biggest industries in Jacksonville. So I kind of did a market analysis on the industry. And healthcare is one of those climbing things. It's doing really well right now. I personally don't foresee it going down in the next 20, 30 years. I could be wrong. I mean, nobody saw the downcline of American manufacturing in Detroit. But still, I looked into that. Crime is on a very slow but steady decline. So that's good. Education's slowly coming up in the city. But it's not in a downward trend, and it's also not a horrible baseline. So for me, I think that particular house is really safe in the neighborhood and the city I bought it in. So anyway, guys, those are my reasons for why I do investment property. It's actually why I'm looking into a second one now. It's because I feel like it's one of the safer investments. It might not be the most lucrative, but I think it's the most steady. And I also think it's the safest long-term, meaning in 30, 40 years when me and my fiance just want to stop doing everything and just relax on a beach somewhere. I think having steady monthly payments is probably a little safer than a lot of stock dividend investments, because stocks will just choose not to pay you dividends that quarter. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned something today. Give me a like or a share or a subscribe. Thanks for watching, and keep saving, guys.